Hey now folks, it's your old buddy Nick here, and today we're taking a look at the game Patronize. Now this is another one of the micro card games that have been coming out of Japan lately that have kind of been taking the board gaming world by storm, because all of these types of games I'm thinking of, Love Letter, Lost Legacy, Parade, these games take all of the complex elements of bigger, grander games and shrink them down into not only a portable size, but a much more lightweight and faster scope. So they've been a big hit for people that just need a quick filler or trying to get casual gamers to get into the hobby. And Patronize is actually from Hisashi Higashi, who did Trains, which is a game that I have the AEG English version of, which I really enjoy. It's a great deck builder that adds some unique elements, and I've done a review that you can actually check out. But this is an even smaller game with an even lighter. Does it hold up to his previous work, and does it hold up to all the other many Japanese micro games that have been coming out? Let's take a look. Patronize is a game for 3 to 5 players, and the entire goal of the game is to have the most victory points at the end of a set number of rounds. Now, the number of rounds depends on the number of players. If you've got 3 players, it's 7 rounds. If you've got 4 players, it's 6 rounds. And if you have 5 players, it's 5 rounds. This also determines how many of each type of card in the game you're going to take out at the beginning. You have 2 types of cards, character cards and fame cards, and depending on the number of players, you'll remove a certain amount of these, or perhaps none of them at the beginning of the game. Any cards that you remove go out and back to the box unseen, so it adds a little bit of randomness to the game because you're not entirely sure which cards are going to be in the game. Now, these are the fame cards, and these are basically victory point cards at the end of the game. Whatever the big number is on the card and down in the corner, that is how many points the card is worth at the end of the game. Now, most of them are actually blank, and you see that they go from values of 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, and 8. But a few of them actually have what are called little trump symbols on them, and I'll get back to that in a minute. Now, the other type of card in the game are the character cards. Now, these are basically what are going to be dealt out to the players at the beginning, and again, it's dependent on the number of players. For instance, in a 5-player game, everyone gets 3 cards. In a 4-player game, everyone gets 4. And in a 3-player game, everyone gets 5. The cards all basically break down in the same way. You'll have the name of the card. Up in the top corner, you'll have the actual value of the card. Underneath that will be a specialty, which actually corresponds to the symbols on the special trump fame cards. Down in the bottom corner is the type of cube that you might get for playing this card. And also down in the other corner are the victory points this card might be worth if it's a protege in front of you at the end of the game. And again, I'm going to get to all this in a minute. Now, every card also has a special ability. For instance, the Literati says, at game end, it counts as a science. Science are the green cubes. And that's what all of these cubes are out here. Now, each of these little cubes corresponds to a different type of art. We usually just end up calling them by the colors, but they are religion and art and science. And you also begin the game with these protection cubes. Each player gets one, and only one, that you can only use once during the course of the game, and any remaining ones, because you have less players, are removed from the game. But how does the game actually play? Alright, so at the start of each round, whoever is the starting player, and the starting player will pass each round, is going to flip over the top fame card. Now, in this case, we have the value 6 fame card that has the blue, like, sort of wisdom scroll as the trump for that. And remember that not every card in there is a trump. So we'll just assume that we're doing a 5-player game. So each player at the beginning is going to get 3 character cards, which they're going to keep hidden. And then you have to decide on your turn one of 2 things. Are you going to pass for your turn, or are you going to actually play a character? And there are pluses and minuses to doing both. So, for instance, what you're ultimately trying to do is get the fame card. And you want to do that in one of 2 ways. One is to either play the highest value card that you have, which is just the number up at the top, or to play a trump card. Now, if someone has played the trump card, if their symbol, the specialty, matches whatever the trump fame card is, it is much more likely they're going to be able to get the fame card, because the first condition you check is who has the highest value card with the trump symbol. If no one played a symbol that matches whatever the trump card is, then you just compare who has the highest number, and they're going to get the fame card for victory points at the end of the game. Now, if you choose to just pass, then you're going to have no shot at getting the fame card, but if you pass the round, you have the option afterwards of either stealing someone else's character that they did play and taking it as a protege for yourself, or choosing a cube of your choice from the stock. And cubes of different colors are going to matter at the end of the game as far as scoring and possibly for some of your character's special abilities. So let's say that I want to go ahead and play the Trader, which is a 14 with the blue trump, which is really, really high and makes it very likely that I'm going to be able to take this fame card. But someone else may have passed, and they get the option, starting, always going clockwise, they get the first option if multiple people passed, to try and take my character or to take a color of a cube that they want. But assuming that my card does not get taken, then at the end of the round, I get to put this character off to the side and it counts as a protege, which again has two important parts to it. First, it's worth 2 victory points at the end of the game, but I also get its victory condition, or its game-ending ability, which is 1 victory point per achievement cube you have, which is actually really, really good. Now, the other thing is that you not only get to possibly take the fame card that was out there if you play a character, but you're also going to be able to take a cube corresponding to whatever character you actually played. The person who actually won the fame card gets that and gets the cube. But then the rest of the players, also in clockwise order, will get an achievement cube of the color indicated, plus another cube of the color indicated by the character played by the closest participating player in clockwise order. So if I play the blue Trader, I'm going to get possibly the fame card, in this case, if I happen to win, a blue cube, but also a cube that corresponds to another color. So if the next player in line played the Painter, I'd get to take a red cube. Now, there are certain character cards that just have a sort of blank, sort of white cube down in the corner. That means you can take any color of your choice from the stock. So a lot of the game is, remember that even though you might, let's say for a 5-player game, you only get 3 cards, there's still 5 fame cards in the deck for that amount of players, which means you're not going to be able to play a character every single turn, and you're not going to be able to pass every single turn either. Well, you could pass every single turn, but it's going to be much, much more likely that you will lose that way. So you have to decide when you're going to play characters, when are you going to pass, and when are you going to take the option of getting more cubes, stealing someone else's character, and so on and so forth. Now, one other thing I didn't mention was that you have these protection cubes that I said you started with at the beginning of the game. Once per game, when you play a character, you may immediately place that protection cube on that character. Not only do you gain the benefit of that character that you played as far as either their special ability or being able to take the fame card or take a cube, but that character cannot be stolen by one of the players that has passed on that round. So it's very strategic when you want to use this, and it's not really worth anything at the end of the game, so you might as well use it. Now, scoring at the end. Not only do you get the points for whatever fame cards that you took, or for the characters that you have as proteges at the end, but you also get points for the amount of cubes that you managed to take. If you have 1 cube of one color, you get 2 victory points. If you have 2 cubes of the same color, you get a total of 5 victory points. If you have 3 of the same color, you get a total of 10 victory points, and so on and so forth, and trying to get as many as you can. And of course, your characters will have different benefits for that. So again, if you happen to have the Literati, he counts as a science, and that would go towards your scoring of those victory points. The Noble says you double the victory points of your lowest fame card. The Nun counts as a religion, a yellow cube. The Clown lets you copy the ability of any proteges of the player on your right, which could be very, very helpful at all points through the game. The Diplomat says 1 victory point per achievement cube the player to your right has. All of these are very different values, different abilities, just a lot of varied experience here. And that basically is Patronize. Oh, one more quick thing I forgot to mention. Another reason why you definitely do not want to pass every single round of the game is because every character card that is left in your hand at the end of the game after all of the fame cards have gone through is worth a negative 10 victory points, which is definitely going to be the difference between victory or loss. So you definitely want to play all of your characters if you can. Based on the number of cards in the box and only having a little baggie of cubes to go along with them, you would think that Patronize is a little different than Love Letter or Lost Legacy or any other recent Japanese micro games as far as how complex they are. But the truth is, there's a little more game in this box than even those other games have. And it's even more tense, and that's kind of what I like. And in fact, I do like this game. Overall, Patronize is a good game. Like I said, it's a little more complex than the other games because it's not just that you're trying to... At first blush, it's just a trick-taking game. You're either trying to take other players' characters, cards that they play as proteges, or you're just trying to get the cubes that you need from the center. But there's more strategy than that. It's not just that you have to keep track of which cubes you should take and what proteges you should take. You have to figure out when it's best to play a card at all, because you're going to have to pass eventually. It's just a matter of when and how you're going to do it, and which characters should you try to hold back on, when should you play them, when is it best to try and go for... There's different paths to victory as far as trying to get the fame cards, but also trying to get the different monopolies on the different colored cubes. And I think the scoring mechanism is one of the things I like most about this game. Now, again, this is not a terribly deep game. I'm just saying that this is more of a middleweight between the light filler that, I could teach Love Letter and have someone completely grasp the game after just one or two hands of it. Patronize is a little bit deeper than that because there's just that extra layer of tension as far as if I play this person now, it's very possible that someone else is going to nick it from me. So to speak, but if I don't play this person now, and also the whole idea of you have a really high numbered guy in your hands, and you think, wow, if you're just going straight out to get that achievement card, the victory card, throw that person down and just try to get it. But does someone else have a higher numbered character? Are they going to throw it down now to get that, or do they need to save that character just so that someone else doesn't take it from them? You just don't know, and I like that. I like that little bit of mystery and a little bit of deduction, and it's harder to deduce things because you have cards that are taken out, especially when you have fewer than the max of 5 players. Just a good game. It's very good. I don't think it replaces the other Japanese micro games for me. I still think for me it goes Love Letter, Lost Legacy, and then even Parade I think I like a little more than Patronize. I haven't reviewed Parade yet, but still very good game. I'm really falling in love with all of these Japanese micro games, or really any of these micro games from anywhere around the world, because they give you that deep, thoughtful strategy in a very short time frame, and that anyone can pick up and play, but that the people who are really into strategizing can get better and better at it than your average casual gamer. So that's Patronize. Give it a thumbs up. My name is Nick. This has been Board Game Brawl, reminding you to get out there and game every day and in every way. Take care.